It's like you've bought a brand new microphone.
Because I don't know about you, but I do my podcast out of a fucking shed. Do you have an actual office?
No, I do it out of my parents' spare room.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no,
So
yeah.
This is the nicest audio I've ever had.
Oh, because you're normally in the shed, yeah.
I'm usually in the shed, so this is like, it took me ages to get used to because I've nailed it to a science on how to get the audio good in the shed. But when I was here, it's so quiet, I had to adjust everything.
Oh, because it's so... Yeah,
It's just peaceful.
Adelaide, is every Adelaide podcast done in a shed?
No, just mine.
I did. I've done 2 other podcasts in Adelaide, and they were all done in sheds.
You've done podcasts in Adelaide?
Yeah, I did one with Sav Caruso. Sub.
Oh, you did. You went on Subs World. What the fuck? What did you talk about with that absolute cretin? He's a weapon.
What do you reckon, mate? We talked about everything. Like I'm pretty sure, and I'm not kidding. He was telling me how he was doing all this stuff in his life because he was planning on, like, not even in like a sad way, but he goes like, I'm planning on like ending it soon. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. And it's like the way he explained it was insane.
He is. Do you know what? He's actually one of Adelaide's OG podcast. He's one of Australia's OG podcasters.
He was on. He's like Today Tonight alumni. I know that the Cops. If I know much about him, the Cops rock up because he plays electric guitar as loud as he can
in his underwear.
Yeah, in the driveway of Salisbury, which is like, love anyone from Salisbury, but it's like the shithole, right?
Oh, Salisbury. No, it is a total shithole. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like the Western Sydney type thing. Like
yeah, Salisbury's like Western Sydney except without the success, because a lot of people from Western Sydney become successful. Nah, shout out to all my northern fans in Salisbury. Use the weapons. Use are just not as good as people from the south.
Yeah,
Southerners are the real Daros. There's like a war in South Australia. It's like, who's the OG Daros? And
who are they?
The Southerners and the Northerners it's like fucking Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I was going to say, sound like Vikings.
Yeah, it's like fucking winter's coming, but it's meth.
What's that suburb then? So you got Salisbury. What's the other one?
So my suburb is Morphet Vale. That's the south.
Oh, Morphet. Does that have like a racetrack?
No, that's Morphettville.
Okay.
They didn't come up, dude. When they built Adelaide, they built our expressway one way. They didn't think about things very well. You used to have to wait till the expressway changed ways, and you used to be able to go down it.
Yeah, I don't understand Adelaide. Love it, but there's like, it's just everyone just drives along the street like that's your freeway. I don't understand it.
For everyone who watches my podcast that doesn't know who Mitch is, I'll let him explain himself.
That's right.
But he is one of I'd say he is the most prominent figure in MMA media in Australia.
By default.
He didn't want to be, he didn't choose to be, but now he is.
I am the Tracy Grimshaw of MMA.
You are, and how the fuck did you fall? I'm
the Waleed Ali of MMA.
Now, when I rang you yesterday, I rang him because I was nervous like 3 days ago.
You were like a little kid. It was beautiful.
He's like, bro, don't take any of my advice. I'm so unprofessional. And he rocks up fucking half an hour late today, has no plans, and he's like, all right, let's get it.
Well, like, I don't know. Like I said,
you're very good at it, though.
I fell into this Australian media stuff. Like, firstly, I just wanted to do a podcast and talk shit with UFC fighters. And cause I started at Triple M. Everyone knows Triple M. It's like a rock radio station in Australia. And I had this connection, and then I hit up the UFC, and I was like, I'm going to do a podcast. And because they were like, oh yeah, Triple M, and they thought it was connected, it wasn't. They were like, cool. And they hooked me up with like 10 guests in a row was like Jack Della, Jimmy Cruz.
I was going to say, you had such a strong
lineup. Then I got fired. And so I kind of lost that connection. But then I wanted to just do podcasts. But what slowly ended up happening is I knew like a lot of promoters in the regional scene kind of not exactly saying the truth, or a coach was lying, or a fighter was lying. And I was like, I don't know, maybe I was just pissed off one day. But I was like, man, fuck it. I was like, I'm just going to say the truth. Like, oh, reports this. You know, and I've done like a unit of journalism in uni twice, the same one, because I failed the
It's
first
actually wild that you're not a journalist.
Insane. No, it's actually crazy. And I, slowly just turned into it. And then people kept telling me stuff. So you say you're a fighter or a coach or whatever, you start going, oh, well, I'll tell Mitch this information because he's going to report on it. Like, he's going to let everyone know.
You got the inside intel and you got the trust.
Yeah, and then everyone started, like, just giving me information. I slowly turned into it. And I've done, like, radio and shit for years. So, like, always... People get tricked into thinking that if you do, like, radio, you're, like, some fancy journalist. But really, I was, like... If you like Hamish and Andy, I was like the Hamish. I
was gonna say you actually got you got a persona because Hamish and Andy. I'm not a radio person. I'm a podcast guy.
Yeah.
But Hamish and Andy were fucking very good at their job.
Yeah.
And you do give off a kind of Hamishy kind of vibe.
But it's like I didn't have any skills, right? So for 7 years, everyone's like. So when I get jobs now, everyone's like, oh, he's worked in commercial radio for 7 years. But like, imagine I was in the passenger seat of Daniel Ricciardo's car. Like, just because he drove the car and won all the championships, I'm like, woo, we did it. But, like, I can't drive. So that's kind of how I, like, with a lot of that stuff works. So with radio, I didn't have any skills. But weirdly, if, you fake it till you make it. And
have you always been balls deep in MMA?
Yeah.
You always have been?
Yeah, well, I grew up in Darwin, which, you want to talk about Adelaide. Darwin's a shithole.
Is there any fucking MMA in Darwin?
Oh, on the streets with the locals.
I was going to say, there's not much MMA going on in Darwin.
Oh, well, I always talk shit, right? So I had to either learn how to fight or stop talking shit. And it was easier to learn how to fight. So, like, when I moved down to Perth, I was like, oh, I'll take up some MMA. My cousin, Isaac Tisdall, ended up being, like, a pretty good, like, Australian MMA champion. He passed me on to Steve Kennedy, who fought in the UFC. Not well, but he fought in the UFC and it kind of just taught me the ways, and I realised I wasn't going to be anything special. I was like, could maybe have 1 or 2 fights and tell some guys in the pub that I'm pretty tough, or I can kind of do something else that'll help, like, the scene.
Yeah.
And this seems to be that way. Because it happens with a lot of sports. I mean, you'd know this as well. Like, whatever you do, just because you want to, like, be the fighter, you might not be as valuable doing that. Like, you're much more valuable doing this.
Oh, dude, I'd be a fucking horrible... Why are you laughing, you fucking asshole? Oh, dude, I always... When I started training, I really, really wanted to fight. Like, just one.
I don't mean this disrespectfully, but have you trained?
Yeah.
Okay, how long?
For 8 years.
Sick, really? Because I like this. This is what I like about you as well. You can obviously fight. Or you at least know how. Don't laugh. You can obviously fight. Like, but...
I'd beat the fuck out of a cunt that doesn't know how to fight.
That's what I always say. Like, I beat the shit out of average Joe.
If a cunt didn't know how to fight, I would fucking destroy them.
But what I like about that is you don't talk about it.
Like,
you don't post, like, you post like you getting the shit kicked out of you or something because it's like funny. It's like a lol.
Oh, dude, but it's because I used to have such a false sense of security when I was growing up, thinking I could fight.
Oh my god, same.
And then when I went into M16 and I was training, and you see these people, and you're like, oh my god, these people could actually kill me.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You don't, and like, there's certain people in the gym, you'll never see them in the UFC, you'll never see them in Glory, you'll never see them in One, but these people that lie in gyms, they're fucking murderers.
Oh, it's insane.
And it makes you, like, feel so vulnerable.
Oh, no, it is. It's like, this is, like, always a controversial, like, when I compare it to this, but, like, going to a mixed martial arts gym and training makes me feel and understand. Not understand. Get 1/10 of an understanding of what it's like to be like a woman. Like, you're walking around in, like, fear.
Very
like, I have to just hope
true.
The black belt in the gym doesn't hold me down, because he could.
Very true.
100% could.
Dude, when you go to a gym and there's we got a girl at M16 called Taylor Ford. She's an Olympic and Commonwealth Games a wrestler. She's pretty petite. She's very muscular, but she will beat the fucking living shit out of any man. Like, people that have trained for years, she'll throw them around like pieces of paper. And and when it first happens to you, you're like, oh my god, this is wild. It
gives you this, like, the more I know, the more I'm scared.
Yeah, honestly, it
'cause
does.
When you walk out, so when you walk out in the street and you see some crackhead swinging around being crazy, I'm like, man, he must be able to fight because I can fight a little bit. You know what I mean? I can beat up the average
Enough.
Joe. And I'm not carrying on like that. So I get really scared. Like, it's kind of weird. I get actually kind of scared of the guy at the pub now
that's loud.
more.
That's
because I'm
loud.
like, you must really know how to fight. Because
Surely.
like, I'm not confident at all. And look at you. But then when you think about it, you realize it's like that cognitive dissonance or whatever it is, or like
It's just it's a disassociation from reality.
yeah, you don't know what you don't know type shit. So it's like you
Before we start, I seen this shit and it's the perfect sesh with Sav drink because it's fucking red wine with beer. And I just couldn't go.
Ooh.
Does it have? It's got beer. It's got bubbles.
that came at the exact same time every Spotify ad comes on. Like, you know, when you're like, this, you know what, this is a good episode. I might stick around. And they're like, hey, well, I've got you. Me undies.
It's Joe Rogan Me Undies. MyTushy.com. But is that yours? It's very like if no one's been to an MMA gym, like there because everyone watches MMA, everyone watches Muay Thai. Not everyone, but if you're in the sport, say you watch Muay Thai and you watch MMA.
Chink me up, bro. I
Ching
shouldn't have said
ching.
that.
Ching ching.
Come on over,
Shannon.
bring it over.
Thank you, Shannon.
Smells hideous. It smells like a melt.
Fucked.
It smells like a melted
That's
Dorito.
so good. Isn't it? I love that shit.
It's beer and Shiraz, isn't it?
That's all it is. It's literally beer
That
with
tastes
wine.
like what I would imagine if you're in the middle of my mum and dad kissing.
Dude,
Like, this is beer and Shiraz.
it tastes like church wine.
That's weird. I don't know what mood that's supposed to put me in.
It's supposed
I
to
feel
make you want to.
Yeah, that's very weird. Why did you just saw that, didn't you?
I just beer and Shiraz. Me and him were looking at it. Me and him were looking at it for fucking 30 seconds, and we were like, "Why is this bottle of wine in the beer section?" Looks good.
Is it classed as a long neck? You know when you.
That's what I thought it was. That's why I gravitated towards it. That's why I gravitated towards it.
That's good. Let me see. How much alcohol? What are we looking at here?
What are we looking at?
4.6 standard drink, 7.7 on the alcohol scale. A White Rabbit, a Sour Red Grand Cru, 2021 vintage.
Very nice.
Jeez. All right. Sponsor of the podcast.
So, yeah, sponsor the podcast. I need 10 grand for my Vegas trip to ADCC.
Oh, that would be good. Surely the Jones boys can hook you up.
No. So, Declan, you know Declan?
Declan Moody.
Yeah.
He is.
So we're going over to watch him.
He's a stud.
He's
Declan.
a frequent on the podcast. He's coming back on next week because he's back in Adelaide for a couple of weeks.
Is he a good dude? I've only met him like in passing. He seems like a great guy.
Declan, honestly, is one of the sweetest fucking dudes you'll ever meet.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, why is he hanging out with you?
No, he's a piece of shit. Yeah, no, don't worry about that. He's a piece of shit, but he's a good piece of shit. His jiu-jitsu, dude. When you've been it's hard to explain when you around people and they're good at a sport.
Yeah.
It's so different to when you're around people and they're gonna be the best at a sport. I don't know how to word it properly.
No. It makes perfect sense.
He's an extreme winner.
Yeah, he really is too. He's like, if he was a footy, it's always, you compare it to like footy players, right?
Any sport he chose, he would be amazing at.
It's like if he was a footy player, everyone would know who he is. Like
Exactly.
he's literally like probably top 5-10 jiu-jitsu guys we have in Australia,
Dude,
in the world.
Honestly, being non-biased,
No, I'm including Craig, including everyone.
non-biased, he's easily top 5. Non-biased.
But that's what I mean. Like, he's that level right now. Imagine, I don't know who people know, footy or rugby or whatever it is. Like, that's like, you know, your Nick
He's like a
Dacos.
Dustin Martin.
Yeah, it's Dustin Martin, right? So if they were in that sport, that's why I always compare it to with people. Like, when people don't understand, like, I'm like, no, this guy.
He's one of Adelaide's most successful athletes. He's got ADCC.
Does he get recognised at all?
No, he gets a lot of podcast, like in the jiu-jitsu and MMA
No, by real
community.
media.
No, nothing.
Like the Adelaide Advertiser.
Nothing. But does the the Perth local fucking advertise MMA shit?
I'm tell you what, I'm bloody trying. And this is the thing.
Who the fuck reads that garbage though?
Exactly.
It's garbage.
But this is the thing. It's like I've always. Because you need the mainstream media. You do. They're not going anywhere, right?
Yeah, but it's garbage.
Yeah, absolutely it is. But it's like, it's there to stay. And so are politicians. It's like saying you hate like that leader or that leader. They're still going to be a leader.
But they need it. Like when Volkanovski was at the top of his reign, like he is still to this day and always will be one of the greatest Australian athletes that's ever fucking lived. He was pound for pound number one in the UFC.
I don't think they realise
how big that is.
That's massive.
John Jones, like that's John Jones status.
But even Robert Whittaker, like,
gun.
I'll tell you what though, Perth, like shout out hometown,
they embrace the fuck out of Volk.
They are doing well. They treat Jack Della like a stud.
He's
like
royalty,
and he don't even speak.
And he doesn't like talking.
Oh, bro, I'm friends with him.
Have you talked to him?
Bro, I would say I am friends with Jack Della, and I can't even get an interview.
Is it the worst interview?
Bro, no, but the funny thing is the best thing about his interview is he says everything in like 4 words. Like you're like, Jack, how's the fight gonna go? He's like, done in one. And you're like, okay, cool. All right, thanks. All right, bye. And it's like, but the way he says it, you like believe it. It's not like he's not shy. He's just like, I've got no time for this.
Bad motherfucker, dude.
There's
like a Diaz. That's why they call him the Australian Diaz.
Yeah, because his brother. Oh, also shout out to his brother Josh, who will always go unnamed. But it's like the Diaz brothers. He's actually the badass one, Josh.
So before you came on, like before the presser we went to today for Hex, shout out to Hex. I had on Jack Jenkins.
Oh, far Jack.
And when I seen him on the Contenders, and when I seen his fight with was it Costa, and the second fight with Medina, we were talking about his fight with, was it Costa at Eternal?
Yeah, Rod Costa.
Costa. I would love to know the striking efficiency percentage of that fight, because I swear to God I didn't see him miss a punch.
No, he's
like, it would have been in the 70s.
He is incredible, Jack.
Oh, bro,
Jack's gonna be a superstar.
Like it gives me goosebumps thinking about it, because when I was sitting with him, my goal for the podcast the whole time was like, okay, in 5 years I want to have one fighter, like UFC fighter.
Yeah,
I've done it in a year and a bit. And now it's like, fuck. And I was
like as in one UFC fighter on the podcast.
That was my goal. When I started the podcast, I wanted a UFC fighter on.
Jeez, and you backed it up with me.
And then I backed it up with...
It's right back to the...
Yeah, we got to go. There's some junk food in between the fucking good stuff, you know?
I love it. No, that's sick.
But when I was talking, like, I walked out the front and he was there. I was like, oh my God, I'm trying not to fucking die.
How did you get how'd you get it?
I messaged him before he went on the Contender Series.
Oh, really?
But he wanted to do it via Zoom, and I wasn't confident enough. It's a very different skill set, and like interviewing over the internet is so different.
Yeah, because you can't be over Zoom like, oh, I murdered a hooker.
No, yeah.
And the other guy's like, what? And you're like, it's like, you got to do it in person. Like.
No, but and it just didn't link up. Anyway, it didn't work out, and then it fell apart, and then he did his thing, and then I was coming to here, and Adam Jones... I was like, you got to get Jack for me.
Pinning that, or like finish your story, but I've got some questions about Adam Jones.
I can fucking answer every single question you got about Adam Jones.
Continue the Jack.
Anyway, Adam, I'll give Adam his props right now before I fucking dismantle him as a human being. All right, so Adam was like, oh, I can get you Jack, and I was like, thanks, bro. And I messaged him, and it linked up perfect. So shout out to Adam, because he does do a lot for me. But I can also answer every single one of your fucking questions about Adam Jones.
No, I just gotta get. It's like a real simple one. It's just like, and I feel like it's something that everyone would ever ask him, right? But on a daily basis, how often is he called Craig's brother, and how often does he have to answer Craig Jones' questions?
See, in Adelaide, Craig's known as Adam's brother.
Really?
No.
We call it But like when I do an interview, like with anyone, I'm always like, "That's the clip." I'm like, "That's the clip."
No, it's not. It's not. No. But Adam, honestly, do you know what's fucked about Adam?
Sorry, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Nah, he is Craig Jones's brother. But do you know what's fucked about Adam? He's so good.
Just give. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, he is, isn't he?
Like, no, he is. I don't know. Do you know what happened?
He's Liam Hemsworth.
No, do you know what happened? He's Liam fucking Hemsworth. That's fucking perfect. That's so fucking good. He is.
Or if you don't like him, he's Luke Hemsworth.
No,
but he's Liam. He's Liam.
He's Liam. But it didn't get enough of the autism gene. Like Craig just copped the perfect amount. I don't know what the fuck is with Craig the last 5 years, but
is he gonna die?
No, he might. He has transcended jiu-jitsu so well.
Is he like I know a lot of people off the thing that know him, but like
I wouldn't be able to talk. I imagine a lot of it's marketing, but a lot of it's just him. He's just being an Aussie.
Like, didn't he just like tap someone out and he like basically admitted to doing like a line of coke before he went out and like
at karate combat?
Yeah, and I want to know
he probably did
how true that is. Yeah, no, because I'm leaning towards it being true because of just when you hear all the stories about him around of people that like probably know him well type thing.
He's just an Aussie. He's just an Aussie doing jiu-jitsu. He's just an Aussie dude.
Yeah, nah, you know what? I will give you that. Every Aussie that you go, I mean, bar maybe like Whitaker.
It's like
every Aussie you know is getting on it.
That's like not even getting on it. It's just the banter. Like hindsight's 20/20. But imagine like the Volk lead up to Taporia with the sports bet ad. Sports bet ad was one of
the way he's an old man.
That was one of the fucking funniest things I think I've seen in years coming out of MMA.
It's just because he was like pretending to be an old man, right? I want to know who puts that forward. Does sports bet go? Volk got this idea.
Sports bet.
No, definitely paying him, but like Volk was such a good actor in it. You know that he's like...
Yeah, he's just playing an old wog. Like, he's playing his granddad. He's Bro, easy money.
He was a fighter, a rugby player that started mixed martial arts at like 26.
27.
Ridiculous. And have you heard the Joe Lopez story about Volkanovski? He just rocked up one day. He was doing like the beginners... MMA or whatever, like nothing. And then there was like some pros that rocked up and he just jumped in and did some rounds. Joey Lopez was like, all right, guys, kind of like, you might have to go easy on Volk.
Smash them all.
He literally is talking to someone that's walked in, turns around and Volk's like picked him up and like German suplexed him and just like tapped him. And Joey went, oh shit, this guy's going to be a stud.
Joe Lopez spiked me on my head with Craig Jones.
Really?
At the after party after.
I love Joe Lopez. Low key, I bet he gets on it too.
Do you know who is my favourite fighter and he gave me the most time after Volk's fight in Perth?
Who?
Malarkey.
Jamie Malarkey.
Malarkey was like sculling beers and he was so
get on it, does
fun.
He? That's the Gosford in him. That's the Central Coast.
He was just smashing beers and having fun.
I love Malarkey. Like, they're those same guys because that's the when I was talking about the interviews that I got, it was like literally back to back to back to back. I got like Malarkey, Crute, Cool About, all those guys.
Did you have a moment? Because I know my moment today. So actually, Marab fucking... So my initial moment was I wanted to start a podcast for over a decade.
Yeah.
And then like we were saying before, I did a tweet and John Anik fucking messaged me.
Yeah, that's a random story.
And I was like, fuck it, I'll start the podcast. That was my first like holy shit moment, like fans, like starstruck. And then Marab liked my story the other day.
Really?
Davashvili liked my story.
Oh, Marab would get on it.
Oh no, but he's so funny. But then, when have you had a moment where you've been like, oh my god, like when Jack Jenkins was sitting there, I was like, oh my god, you're like a celebrity to me. Is it hard to get over that for you?
Nah, it will always be. I'll always be like,
You're
oh my
fan.
god. Yeah, I'm a massive fan. But you got to remember, like, I'm a nerd at like. I could create...
You seem very good at separating your job from your passion.
You reckon?
You seem pretty... You seem a lot more professional. You seem a lot more... You have the ability to be a lot more of a professional than I will.
I think it's because it's like... This is weird. But like, you owe it to them. What is that?
I don't know, just pouring it in there, man.
Are you a mixer?
What do you mean? Yeah, you got to mix it to.
That looks like that looks like that's a perfectly poured beer.
What the fuck?
That's good.
Have a look at that. Subscribe
If you-
to the Sesh with Sav. I'll see you at the bottom.
Do you do audio podcasts as well? I mean, you're talking right now, but well, then guys, go watch the video because that was impressive. That was a Carlton Draft ad right there.
Do I do audio podcasts?
I don't know, bro. Some people are weird. Like you could do fucking transcript audio.
I do everything, bro.
You transcript and print it.
I'll fucking do it in Morse code if I need to. I don't give a
Would
fuck.
you? Can we do that?
At the moment,
can we do
I would.
that? How much would that cost?
Usually I do it by myself. He's doing it for free this week.
Let's do a Morse
Can we do
code
it in
one.
Morse code?
Fuck yeah! All right, I'm down for that.
Do you know what I'm fucking with? Here's a good question because you will understand. You're at home. It's a Sunday. What is? This is not the question, but just give me a quick one.
All right.
What is a main event you'd be willing to pay $200 for?
Oh, Easy versus Volk.
Ridiculous.
Nah, $200 for.
Do you know what I phrase? I phrase this wrong.
Yeah.
I phrase this wrong. Okay, so you get a pair of the Apple Vision Pros or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you get a VR headset.
Yep.
UFC are giving cage side seats in the cage though for John Jones and Ngannou.
Yep.
How much are you paying for that?
Oh, I mean,
VR, indistinguishable.
so it's actually happening. Like the fight is like in real life.
It's a lot because they do it with the NBA.
Yeah.
You can sit courtside.
Okay, so it's a pretend fight, but it's on the VR.
No, it's a real fight.
It's a real
It's
fight.
a main event. It's a live event.
Okay, it's happening in life though. That's so it's actually real life.
You got the headset on.
Yeah, but I'm at home.
You're at home.
No pants.
No pants.
Yep.
Dick's out.
Yep. VR.
VR.
Ooh.
How much would you pay for a top flight UFC main event in VR? But it's in the cage. Like you got a visual in the cage. No,
I reckon 250 to I reckon I'd stop it at 300.
you would be willing to pay more than $150 to $200 though.
Yeah, probably. Like
For
at
a
least,
fight night, you pay $80
Yeah.
just for the experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why don't they do that? They do it with the NBA.
Do they?
You can get fucking courtside. You can watch courtside live.
Can you actually? So is it a dude or is it just like a 360 camera?
No, it's fucking VR.
Yeah, I know, but like how does the dude that's there, like how do we see it?
On a headset. What are you fucking talking about?
So the guy is sitting front row.
I don't know what the cameraman's doing, bro.
I want to know the tech of it, bro. Is it do I just get like
You're
some dude?
asking the wrong dude.
Or is it some guy named? Is it some guy
What do you
named
mean?
James? Is it some guy named James and he looks left and I want him to look right? Like you know what I mean? It's like
No,
is it a
it's
360
VR,
camera?
cunt. You can look like this.
Okay,
Like,
but it's a real game.
yeah,
Alright, cool.
it's like it's VR. There's no one pointing a camera.
How
at
much is it in the NBA?
I don't know. It's like I don't know. It's an
Also,
app.
Carl Stefanovic never calls his guest cunts. Okay,
Who's Carl Stefanovic?
some host. He's on the Today Show for Channel 9.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm like Shannon Sharp
Did you see? Side note.
with Carl.
It's so many side notes. We're never going to get through a single thing.
Nah, it's fine.
Yeah, did you see the Cat Williams,
yes.
Shannon Sharp?
I watched every second of that three
Bro,
times over.
how good.
I love
is that,
Cat Williams.
As a host, are you like, I want to interview like that?
No, do you know when I listen to Shannon Sharp, I'm like, oh, he's an excellent interviewee, like an interviewer.
Yep.
Interviewer. He's an excellent.
Oh, that's the other question. Who do you? This sounds super lameo, but like, who do you look up to? Like, who's your guy? Who do you want to interview?
It's so cliche, but honestly, I think Joe Rogan honestly has the formula down. And originally, because I was watching from episode like 200, initially he would butt into his guests a lot.
You're
and
like an OG.
I still butt into my guests a lot. Like I will.
Yeah, but it's cool though.
I'll cut them off at the wrong times though. But you need to know when to let someone flow.
Yeah, but also like there's. Nah, I see what you're saying, but you've got a good style.
But now he's like, he can retain an insane amount of knowledge, and it's been like he actually listens to a conversation. Do you know? You would know. I didn't realize how bad a listener I was until I did a podcast.
Oh, you're pretty shit at listening. Like, you're a great podcast host, but like I've heard you just listen to stories in general, and you're like, but like that's what makes you great. Is because your brain's like.
No, I can veer off, but I didn't realize how bad I am at listening until I did because people don't realize listening is a skill. Like it's a massive skill to sit down and actually retain the knowledge that someone's giving you.
I'm a good how do you say this? I'm a good hearer. I'm not a good listener.
Yeah.
So I can sit there and go, huh? Yeah? Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. And you'll think I'm paying attention.
Engaged.
You'll literally be like, what did I just say? And I'll be like, I don't know. I don't know. But it's like, I think my whole life, especially in media, I've been good at going like, oh, yeah, cool. And like, I'm still like clued on a little bit. Like, I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. Like, oh, Joe Rogan. What is it about Joe Rogan that you like? But it's like deep down, I'm not paying attention at all.
That's the thing. It's like... you don't realize it as a person that doesn't have to listen to people, but there's like if you're the type of person that when someone's talking, if you're the type, no, you're
that
all
is
good.
Disgusting.
I like it.
That beer Shiraz.
Do you want some more?
No.
Okay.
I'd rather die.
Do you want some? Really, you just don't like it.
How do you like it? It tastes like the bottom of a drip tray.
That's fucking good for me.
You taste like if you went into a bar and said, "Can I just have that little bucket at the bottom of the like taps?" That's what that tastes like.
Dude, it's really good.
To be fair, he is from Chris's Beach.
No, I'm not. You can't.
Where, Chris? What Chris?
Don't ever you say that. I'm Morphettvale born and bred.
Worse.
What's the?
No, it's
not.
not.
What was the suburb you said, Chris?
He said Chrissy's Beach.
Chrissy's Beach.
That's where he works.
That's where I work. But
Also, can I say, South Australia? I will always have love for South Australia because I did 3 years of radio in Mount Gambier.
that's fucking fuck.
Which is 28,000 people. I wanted to fucking kill myself every day.
That's not even like a part of South Australia.
No, but it was so bizarre because and then I went to Adelaide and I was like, just the amount of like, and I don't do it anymore. I'm on track, but the amount of like
Meth.
partying and drugs I did was just like
Well, they call it Meth Gambia.
meth Gambia. You know, meth capital of Australia, they reckon. But every town tries to claim that. But like, even just like friends that were like,
Every town does try to claim
they do.
that,
I hate
by
it.
the way.
I hate it. They're
And
like,
it's
oh,
like,
meth capital.
What a weird flex.
It's like weird. No, but it's like, you know what it is? It's like they try and be like, oh, our town like is such a shithole, but we're the best at it. Because you know what you don't want to be? Second in meth. Like you don't want to be like the second.
Oh, where did I go in? I went to Perth like 8 years ago where all my friends were from.
Mandurah, Rockingham.
No, Rockingham.
Yeah. Hey, see? That's how you know.
We went to a club called Liquids.
Yep.
In Rockingham.
Yep.
Because they tried to attribute it to this place we used to have in South Australia called the Vic.
Oh, I've heard of the Vic.
The Vic was the spot. It was my spot.
I love South Australia.
So,
That's great.
do you enjoy it?
I just loved because it was part of my like from like
So
maybe
why were you visiting there?
at Mount Gambier.
Oh, so when you came to
lived
South
it-
Australia, you were living in Mount Gambier.
Yeah, so for 3 years for like radio, because it was like how you sort of climb the ladder. They send you like a teacher type thing. They send you to a regional town. You like work your way up type thing. And I didn't.
Soul draining.
Oh, so crazy.
Radio?
It was fucked. But like literally, so from 13 to 17 in Darwin, I was a menace. Then I calmed down until I was about 23. Then I moved to Mount Gambier for this radio, right? And because I was in a small town, right? And I was the radio guy there, I got to live
You're
like
a
a rock
celebrity.
star. And
Yeah.
it's like my whole life I wanted to be famous, right? And then when I got to Mount Gambier, I realized it's not all it cracks up to be because it's like you get a feel of it and you times that by 10. So like you pretend Mount Gambier is Sydney. I know it sounds dumb, but like you pretend it's Sydney, you go, that's what it feels like to be actual famous.
No, it's true. Do you know? Because in Adelaide, I don't know about you, but you probably not you so much because you work. I'm looking at Shannon. He's on the other. I don't usually have someone on the other end of the camera, but he works with a lot of like higher society people with his work with videography.
And you're just giving him a call out.
Giving him a shout out.
Like, you know those corporate CEOs that you work with and you need to pay your bills?
Whereas, like, if I see an AFL player, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, that's that player. Whereas in Melbourne, you see someone, you're like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when I go to Vegas or when I go to, say you go to New York, it's probably very common to see influential people there.
I reckon if you're mid-tier famous, you're not as big a dick. Where if you're a mid-tier famous person in like Adelaide or Perth, you're a wanker. Like when you think about it, like you would
100%.
like when you were talking about like me, even in the MMA scene, right? Like in any other like if I was in footy, you'd have to do 10 years before anyone gave you any credit.
But you're an MMA.
I've been doing it for 1 year, and I'm a god.
Yeah,
like honestly, be honest with everyone. When did they do the media meeting?
Yeah,
when I rocked up. Like they waited for me.
He said that on the phone. He's like, and he actually was very nice about it. He's like, dude, you're gonna see these things, and it's not real. Like I'm telling you, and you said it. You fucking called it. And he said this to me, and and you've always been very nice to me. And and he's like, you're gonna see all of these like rules, but they're not rules.
No, they're not rules.
Like for some reason, everyone kind of like. You didn't say dick rides, but you like he's like everyone kind of gravitates towards me and shit, but that's not a thing. Like don't think that's a thing. And but do you know why that is? It's because you're like it's a lot harder than people think it is.
Yeah, I think the more you do it, the realize because it is scary.
You seen me there. I was like a fucking shy puppy, but you see me now on the podcast. It's totally different.
But you got up there, and it's like I know we're not doing a dick pulling contest because I'd win, but like as in like I do it with more passion. But you did well. Like you got up there, and there's some scary fighters. And
I asked one question, and that I just wanted one good question because I knew I had one question in my head. For Webb, and I was like, I don't want to waste all the other fighters' time with a bullshit question.
Yeah, Harry Webb, beautiful man. I also saw him weigh him with using a towel because sometimes you have to drop the pants. He's got a hammer too. So
does he?
Yeah, it's.
I reckon he would have a hammer.
He does. He's like genetically blessed.
He's got that fake blonde hair.
But you did real well, and so what I find funny about it all is like you even said. Which is bad for my humility. You even said when you got up there, you're like, oh, I'm not like Mitch up here. Like, and it's like you guys are feeding the beast. Like you're making me. I'm gonna turn into the biggest wanker, and it's gonna be your fault.
And you're gonna.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
You're gonna fall out with every major promotion, and you're gonna have to.
I already got one that fucking hates me.
Really?
So yeah, I can't go to like. They don't hate me, but they just like.
There's not that many in Adelaide, so people in Australia, so people are gonna fucking.
People know me and Eternal have a bit. Like I used to work for them, but we've got a big
Oh my god, you dropped it.
Yeah, of course I did. Well, it's not bad. It's just like I think they stand quite strong with how they feel about it, and that's.
Do you feel like they have ever since they're pretty much a feeder? I'm not saying this in a rude way, because it's actually a compliment. They're like almost a feeder organisation for the UFC. They feel like they have more to lose.
This is the thing, and this is where I will give them and any other Australian promotion credit. All of them are going broke, chasing a dream. And
it's a hard business, man.
And you can say, oh, you're exploiting fighters and blah, blah, blah. And look, I get it. At the end of the day, the top tier is the fighters. The second tier is us, like promoters, like coaches, managers. You were all below fighters, right? At the end of the day, they're the ones putting it all on the line. Everyone else underneath that is a leech. We all are. We're all leeches, right? But we have good intentions.
Yeah,
we want
to promote the sport.
You do it as well. You want to lift fighters, right? And it's not, don't give me this bullshit selfless, like where everyone's like,
I want to just up fighters.
We're giving them a platform. Suck my dick. You're doing it so you can get likes and they get monetized.
Bro, I got Declan on the podcast 2 years ago because I knew that motherfucker was going to make 80cc.
No, Joe. Do you know how many investments I do? I was like the first person to ever interview Quillan Sourkill. He'll bloody be in the UFC, and I'll be like, bro, remember that time?
That's like Webb tonight. This is going to come out after the fight, so if this doesn't age well, I'm so sorry. But if I would like Webb tonight, was like, I walked up to him, I slapped hands, was like, I'll see you in the UFC, brother.
It's so funny too because you were saying this as well. Is it's like it's so hard that like there's only so much time. There's only so many fighters, especially you, where you don't want to do an MMA dominant like podcast, right? If you talk to one guy, the other guy fucking hates you.
Yeah, but you can't. One thing I've learned. Do you know what I've learned in the last? Honestly, it's been the last 2 months because I've held back on a lot of guests because of previous guests. Because
as in you don't want them to not you?
No, because when I have a guest on, and I always ask, because I have guests on whether it be rap or fighting or this or that, I always ask my guests, "Oh, is this person chill?" And they would say, "No, they're a fuckhead. They're this."
Really?
And I would always like not form an allegiance, but I would always when you have a podcast, I've learned in the last 2 months, you have to be really unbiased. Yeah. And it doesn't matter it doesn't matter because I have to be as unbiased as I can be.
It sounds lame, but you can't
you can't pick a side.
No, but you can't do this to be friends.
That's the thing, though. You can't. Everyone at the end of the day, it's my platform.
So I'm friends. So I would say I'm friend. Like at that press conference, at Hex press conference, you check it out if you don't know what we're talking about. But like if you look at them, right, I'm friends with all of them, right. But they also, none of them trust me. Like, none of them. So it's like, you go home alone.
But you're very friendly with all of them.
Yeah, but then none of them trust me. And it's like, you can't get in this for friends. So like, Jack Jenkins, right now, because he's in the UFC, it's different. He'll be my boy because he knows there's no one out there that I'm going to, like, go tell. Yeah, it's like, it's different. Jack Della. They're all the same. Volk. They're all like UFC guys. But when you're in the regional scene,
it's very word of mouth.
And I get tricked as well. So say I talk to Declan Moody, right? And I'm like, and then he's like, yeah, Mitch is a great guy. I really feel like he liked me. And then I go and talk to, I don't know, this is just another guy I know, like Ben Hodgkinson from like Victoria, who's a jiu-jitsu guy, right? Then all of a sudden Declan's like, fuck you, man, you talk to him? Like, but we shared a moment. Like, and it becomes this real, like, they feel bad.
Fighters, for anyone who hasn't dealt with fighters before, they are the most high-octane, emotional people you'll ever fucking meet.
Oh, imagine your girlfriend on 2 periods.
No, like, honestly, though, because they're fucking alpha males and they take everything to heart.
No, and they bloody should. And it's like, because it's at the end of the day, like, if me and you fuck up, we have a shit podcast or someone says something bad about us. If they fuck up at their job, they get knocked out cold in front of everyone. Alden Bates, who was up there today, he has a highlight reel knockout loss to Jack Della, which sent him to the UFC. And you know what's funny? In that highlight, I'm screaming because I did commentary.
How you going, guys? This is Sav from the Sesh with Sav podcast, and I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Manscaped.
It's not Manscaped. The sponsor is Southern Strength and Conditioning.
Does this look like a fitness channel? What the is Southern Strength and Conditioning? All right, run it back. How you going, guys? This is Sav from the Sesh with Sav. And today's sponsor is actually Southern Strength and Conditioning. Let's get it. Located at 4/27 Farrow Court in Seaford. It's available for all levels, from professionals to intermediate to rookies. Weightlifting, strength and conditioning, massive facilities, heaps of equipment, and I'm going to show you how to use it all. For $14 a week, you can unlock your inner potential and be a savage just like me. Like and subscribe. Can't believe I'm sponsored by a fucking gym. Manscaped, eat my ass. But yeah, fucking MMA fighters, man, they're just emotional. Our feed cut, and I can't be bothered tracing it back, and I'm sorry to anyone that happened to.
Did you just try and patch it over and then give up within 5 seconds?
Yeah. It's not this is not the podcast for that shit, man.
That's mine. I do that all the time.
I hired a podcast producer, and he's fired.
He's amazing. He's top of the food chain.
Shannon fired.
Shannon's top of the food chain.
Shannon's not fired because
Mate, I don't get paid.
he's not.
I mean, technically, neither do I.
Like,
So
can
for
they-
this,
I don't think.
I didn't. I had to buy my own drinks. I just
Shannon-
want to say I came here out of my own free will, and I didn't even get my drinks paid for.
What do you mean?
I don't want to say that you
Have a
cheap.
beer.
I had half a Shiraz or whatever you call that, the beer Shiraz, which felt more
Have
like
a
a
fucking beer.
punishment. I will soon when I run out of.
We're talking
cruises.
about Shannon and his incompetency. And I'm joking.
That's the first time he. This is the first time he didn't laugh. This whole podcast.
Not my fault. You have this shittest system.
He's working on.
How did you guys? How
Right
did?
next to my foot, you have a fake blood.
Nah,
He's wor-
no.
He's working on Acer.
Nah, to be fair, you gave me shit because you were like, I don't make the products. But who makes a fade to black button that big?
He. Shannon's trying to do his magic on an Acer right now. That cost me $800. All right.
That's not bad.
I'm used to fucking premium Apple products.
Yeah, Mac. I'm a Mac boy.
This is, and if anyone wants to know his handle, it's Air JPEG. no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Helpsy.
How do you pronounce it?
Yeah, nah. Anyway, I got.
That's really good.
We got onto it.
Give Helpsy all the love. 'cause
I love Helpsy. Shout out to Luke Helps. One of Adelaide's greatest MMA video. Would you call him MMA videographer?
Who's that? Who's that?
How would you phrase it?
Photo.
Who's that?
Well, Luke Helps Air JPEG.
Yeah, I know. I've said all that. I actually follow AirJPEG.
He is, in my opinion, Adelaide's best MMA.
It sounds rude, but is that not you? I thought that was you, Shannon.
No, not me.
No,
Oh, is
he's
that not
right.
you?
He's right media.
I love it. I like follow all that sort of shit. There's
He's
another
amazing.
guy.
He's coming tomorrow,
there's
so he'll
another-
be here tomorrow.
Oh really?
Well, I'll introduce you to him, Luke.
Yeah, he's cool as shit. There's
He's
another guy
awesome.
that follows. There's like Shot Wheeler, and there's another guy that follows like Josh Coolabau around a lot, and he's like, I think he's a Sydney boy, but like
they're Sydney
photographers,
boys.
and videographers and stuff. I'm like, you need more credit. Give me more of that disgusting beer.
Oh,
Shiraz.
you like it?
No, I don't. I
Oh,
don't.
wait. Yeah, just pour that in there.
No, you mix that around.
I'll see you at the
so
bottom.
gross.
Here, cheers.
You're lucky I've got nothing to edit today. You just
What do you
literally
mean? I'm lucky. Well, I'm trying to ruin your career.
You can't ruin my career. This is why I started this brand. Do you know how many jobs? This sounds really wanky.
Better threesome.
Is there a threesome?
Yeah.
Who's in the middle?
You.
Nah, Sav would be in the middle.
No, fuck off. I would.
You give middle vibes.
Fuck yeah. Shannon does give
But
middle vibes.
no. But you would do it as like a literally. You would be like Mitch, you're in the middle, and all I'd have to say is I dare you, and you'd be like, all right.
Everyone's wondering what Shannon looks like right now. No, but wait, we were talking off
Let's
camera.
describe him.
We were talking off camera, and we were talking about his last name, and I just really struggled to pronounce it, and I was like, I guarantee you cannot pronounce mine.
I thought.
So we've had a technical difficulty, and I'm
Twice.
going to tell you twice. I'm going to tell you about it. I'm not going to. So what happened? I'll pour a drink first.
There's nothing left in that.
Okay.
That's how we.
So what happened? Shannon, can I please have a drink? So
you do. You owe us.
yes.
Please.
So what happened?
Me too, please.
We were explaining the MMA community, and then we were explaining a lot of things about life.
We spoke for like half an hour.
We
Probably
spoke
2
for-
hours.
And then and then it turns out we weren't being recorded.
Yeah.
He tried to fuck me.
Yeah.
He looked at me in the eyes and
did.
said, Sav, let's start an OnlyFans.
No, he said that.
It was wild.
Nah, it was weird.
It got weird. But now we're back.
Yeah. I said podcast, not rodcast. And he was...
Yeah.
But he did. He said it. I heard him. I
But-
can confirm.
Luckily, I have some amazing questions to ask you.
Is it? Sorry, just side note, before we get into that, are you one of these, like, because you said you like it does have a Joe Rogan-y feel. Do we have the potential to go for like 5 hours?
I've done 8.
Oh, I'll go all night.
Yeah,
I will go
do you
all
know?
night.
Do you know what you should
And you know
do?
what's funny? Shannon will go get beers because he didn't record, twice?
You are.
I feel strong guilt.
No,
It's fine.
Dude,
You're talking to two shit media journalists.
dude, he's not even a journalist,
No, not
and
at all.
I am not even a podcaster.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But-
I'm literally the best media journalist because of incompetence, and he is the best podcaster just because. I mean, what else are you going to listen to?
Yeah, there's nothing else in Adelaide.
Yeah,
So, here you go.
it's him and Stephen Mills. Who was the guy that was your premier?
I don't fucking know, man. I don't vote.
Who was it?
Sarah Marshall. She was on the video with Russell Brand. Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Good movie. Who's that? Oi, who's that? Honestly, honest question. Who's that fucking Prime Minister?
Julia Gillard. No, it's Anthony Albanese.
Anthony Albanese.
I reckon. Let me see how far I can go back. Anthony Albanese, Tony Abbott, Malcolm Turnbull. Oh, did I fuck it up?
Yep.
Bro, they changed so much. All right, run it through me. Go.
Albo.
Albo,
ScoMo.
ScoMo,
Malcolm
Turnbull,
then Abbott.
then Abbott,
Then it was Julia Gillard.
Julie Gillard,
She was a customer at the shop.
then K-Rudd.
And then my memory.
I like how he yelled at his staff. That was cool.
Who's your favourite?
Out of all of them,
Yeah.
I liked K-Rudd.
Howard.
No, I liked. Oh no, Howard because I grew up with him.
Howard is just fuck.
Also, how do you not like Bob Hawke? Like, I know we didn't grow up with him, but the dude downed pints.
If he was the boy, I would have been there.
Bro, imagine that. Imagine he's like, anyone that fights you for taking the day off is
Here's
a
one.
bum.
You can go on a bender with any UFC fighter. Who you going with? I'm going John Jones, hands down.
Title Vasa.
No fucking way. John Jones has indispensable income.
I will fight you right now. Title Vasa would out party that man.
Are you kidding?
100%. And this is not my patriotism. Title Vasa, 100%. I have not only heard stories, I've seen things. Have I seen John Jones? No, in the bender stage. But did you see him in his last, he was going around clubs citing the Bible?
I
don't think he's got it anymore.
I honestly think I would fuck Tui Vasa up in a bender.
I just wanted to leave a little bit of space there so I can clip that later.
I honestly think it. Honestly.
I don't know. I spoke to him a week ago and asked him about John Jones, and he said that he would have outbended John Jones, and I believe him.
Here's actually a very good one. I made a video on this. What do you do with the middleweight division in the UFC?
How are you going to go from benders to real questions?
No, because it just reminded me because you
that speaking of hookers reminds me, what's going on with climate change?
yeah, exactly. Like, what do you do with Robert Whittaker?
You leave Robert Whittaker alone because that man loves his family and trains, and that's how we want to leave it.
Nah, you do him and Strickland.
I love Robert Whittaker. I know he probably parties. I'm not sure. I can't confirm, but he seems like the most sober lad there ever was.
Yeah, there he is.
Just like,
he just plays games. He's just playing games.
In Strickland, man, that's a weird one, isn't
Him
it?
and Strickland's a good fight. And then you do Izzy and DDP in Africa.
I do like Drickus. I do like Izzy.
Izzy and DDP in Africa.
Although South Africans, no offense,
They're not African. I'm gonna say it. You're white.
No, but they're wildly every South African I've ever met is wildly racist. Wildly,
are.
and they'll have servants and stuff.
I've seen fucking District 9. I've seen it. I know what that movie's about. It's about racial segregation.
Yeah, I saw Leonardo DiCaprio in Blood Diamond.
Dude,
it wasn't good.
One time, I seen the dude shit in a bin.
Was he South African?
He was.
Really?
I've
got a South African accountant at my work.
I wouldn't trust him.
No, I don't. But he shows me pictures of South Africa all the time on Google Maps, and he's like, "Oh, you see this fences to keep the blacks out," and I'm like, "Okay, all right, mate, I gotta go back to work."
They're legit though. Would in the middleweight division?
Yeah.
Do you add Kamza into it? Is he a middleweight? Who knows?
Yeah. I'm not really too sure what to do with him. You go.
Do you give him a match though?
Nah, what you do is you go Whittaker. You go. I know they're looking at Izzy. I know this for a fact. They're looking at Izzy versus Kamzat, but I reckon they go.
Yeah, but
Whittaker versus Strickland because you can't go Whittaker versus Drickus. Doesn't make sense. But
Drickus has a 6-month ice.
Really, Izzy should come back and fight Strickland. No. He's like technically like he shouldn't skip for the title, but you can't go Rob Drickus. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, do you know what though? Kamzat needs a fight where he's either going to get fucking whooped or he's going to win. Like
he needs another test. He needs another like 3-rounder. Like
no,
maybe even a
fuck a
5-rounder.
test. He's talking all this shit. I used to be on the Kamzat train, but he talks too much shit. So he needs a fight like Izzy. So it's either he's going to get absolutely fucking mauled or he's going to surprise everyone.
Well, he's probably so far away from welterweight again. Sorry, Shannon's just moving again. Your podcast producer, so I'm waiting for us to go off air. We are still on air. Yes, boys, we have learned. No, I would. So if I was picking fights, I think Kamzat is on the outer, unfortunately, because I think you go Rob Whittaker Strickland. I just think that would be a cool matchup anyway. I think you go Drickus Izzy because Izzy deserves
in
it.
Africa,
If
in
you're-
Nigeria.
But if you're telling me Izzy doesn't deserve Strickland, you're an idiot.
In Nigeria.
No, but like, are you telling me like Strickland Izzy makes sense? Like he deserves that at least?
Because he's a good champ, but he lost the belt like twice in 1 year. It's
You don't
hard.
want. You don't want to give. Sorry, start it up. You don't want to give Izzy to Drickus because there's enough there.
There's
He's done enough there.
Izzy and Drickus makes way more sense than Izzy and Strickland.
Yeah, no. Sorry. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly
no,
right.
you are correct.
Where Whittaker versus Strickland, I like because I don't want to see Whittaker and Drickus like so soon. Like it doesn't make any sense. I just want to look at it because I don't want to speak out of like turn with the middleweights. So it's hard because you've got Paulo Costa, you've got Brendan.
He's a filler now. At this point,
Exactly.
Costa's a filler.
Well, that's a big call. You've got Marvin Vittori, you've got Jared Cannonier. I would like Kamzat to either go a Cannonier or a Vittori.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, comes up Vittori's perfect. Then you do
Yeah.
Cannonier Costa. That's a good fight.
Yeah,
They're
because Costa,
fucking good fights.
Dana White said it himself, like, if you get Costa in the cage, that's
good.
Like, it's good. But getting him in the cage, that's...
Oh, but he won't win. Like even if he doesn't win, it's going to be a good fight.
All right. It's just like, yeah, it's a... I think that sets it up well. I think Izzy beats Drickus, to be honest. And then I think Rob beats Strickland. And then
All
I
right.
think we do that again.
What we're going to do, we're going to finish these beers right now. And then you are going to spill to my audience.
Yeah, what were these questions?
There's no questions.
You said you had questions.
Did I? Oh. All right. You're in a bar. There's a massive fight. You got one UFC fighter from any era to back you up. Who you got?
Any UFC.
Any UFC fighter in any era. I got John Jones, 3 a.m. on cocaine. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's hard to not have John Jones, but I want Brock Lesnar. Because at the end of the day, the dude's big as well. Like, it's not just skill, he's size. So he's going to run through everybody.
All right, your favorite division in the UFC?
Ooh, it's got to be...
At the moment.
Lightweight. I love lightweight. Even though Poirier and, like, McGregor and Hooker and all those boys have, like, seen better days, technically, it's still... How do you not go past lightweight?
Greatest fighter of all time.
Greatest fighter, GSP.
Wrong.
How dare you? Greatest performer of all time?
Fighter.
Great, like, but that's what I'm saying. Greatest fighter, like, as in skills? GSP.
It's John Jones.
No, because it's like, go watch GSP move, go watch him do everything. I think it's GSP. Greatest performer of all time? I think it's...
Conor McGregor. Has to be.
No, bro's been starched.
If you're talking performer, he's
No.
he's
No.
the lead example.
I'm going to keep changing your questions. Greatest peak of performance? Conor McGregor. Greatest performer? Anderson Silva.
Oh, good. Very, very, very good call.
Like most
good call.
dominant at their peak, John
Play
Jones.
with their food.
Yeah, but like Anderson Silva, the way he moved around and like starched people, that's our performance. And this is what I want to go back. This is a full circle of you've listened to like 2 hours plus an hour of stuff that didn't get recorded to when we were first started talking. is like there's regional fighters and there's fighters all around the world. the best in their gym.
But you never see them.
Because you only have, let's be real. Imagine you showed up to work. Say you got 300 days of work a year.
A lot of dudes like to lay bricks, bro.
Oh,
That's
100%, right?
that's the end of it.
Take one day that you go to lay bricks and it's not your best day, right? Now imagine that's in front of 30,000 people.
Yeah.
And you just lost. Like, and now me and some Cyprian guy that I can't say his last name are talking about you on a fucking podcast halfway across the world.
100%.
Like, it's like, that's how amazing our like sport is it's like, that's all it is. It's literally one day. Like, imagine you just don't, how many times you wake up and you're like, I don't feel like going to work. Now imagine that's in front of millions.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be the wanker of being like, oh, we can't talk shit about them. Because at the end of the day, it's a sport. It is what it is. But when you look at the meta level of it, bro, it's like you got to put it all together on one fucking night.
It's the loneliest and best sport in the world. And it's given you an amazing job.
Oh, so many 30-year-old white men want to suck my dick.
It's made me meet so many cool people, and I'm just so happy that I'm part of it.
Oh, it's
the best sport in the world.
I'll give everyone else this. I'll tell everyone that this like little side story that you probably don't even know. You were one of the very first people ever. I'm talking like, if there was a guy before you, there's only ever one. There's only ever been just one. You were maybe the second person to message me when I started this over a year ago.
Yeah, I remember when you first made your page.
It was like literally like, I'm talking like 13 followers. Like literally like you were there and like that. And I know this podcast isn't about like pulling each other's dicks, but like that sort of shit is what like kept me going for Australian MMA.
That's fucking.
Like, no, I'm dead set, and I know that we're doing the whole white boy like I've had too much to drink and I love you, man. But like that's the shit. It like that's and I'll say this as well. I have never, and I've done everything in life. Like I've been on radio stations, I've been on TV stations, I've called for ESPN, KO. I've done it all. But like, I've never been so accepted than I have for Australian MMA. And it honestly, it brings a fucking tear to my eye that out of my entire life, this is the most I've ever felt accepted. And you were a part of it.
Oh, bro. Well, you're honestly, I remember because I met you in Perth and you were with, I won't even mention the name, but you were with fucking Triple MMA, whatever fucking gay.
Great name, by the way. Triple M radio station. I called it Triple MMA. As beautiful.
Gay. But like fucking like, and then you did your thing, and I messaged you, and I always ask you for advice, and I appreciate that you're not a fucking gatekeeper. You're so open with advice.
Gates open.
And we'll end it now because I want to get absolutely railed. And I want my cameraman to get absolutely railed right now.
I want him to enjoy.
Shannon.
That's why he keeps turning us off.
Shannon, the little fucking gimp right now. But I want focus on Mitch.
You cunt.
Focus on Mitch. I want you to shout out for whoever's listened to this long, shout out your Instagram, your socials, shout out everything. And then we'll fuck off.
First of all, you should always have that written down so you're ready to go, you little bitch.
No, it's your job.
How dare you make me plug my own shit. Australian
plug
MMA
your own shit.
_ on Instagram. No, do hit it up. Australian MMA _ YouTube, Instagram. I'm essentially, how I explain it to people, like the college basketball of mixed martial arts. Like, if you want to know who's going to get drafted, who's going to go to the next level, who's going to go to the UFC, if you want to like follow them and be the first to jump on board at the grassroots level, that's where I've ended up. That's where I'm going to help the most. So do hit it up. And of course, www.australianmma.com.au. The more clicks I get, the more money I get. So please do head there. Woo!
We'll see you at the bottom. Have a good one.